Hey guys, just want to give a shout out to our producer, Clayton Cadu. He is helping us out with the waiver wire ads this week, and just want to say thanks to that guy for all the hard work. Cadu, add these players.
Yeah, eat, sleep, fantasy, you rockin' with the best. NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. We talking mock drafts, running backs, better follow the conversation with John, Dale, Christian, and Armando. Screaming Eat Nation, we doing what we like. Tune in every week, guarantee we get it hype. Fantasy, football enthusiasts, I know you plan to be joining us on Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Yeah, Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Eat, Sleep, Fantasy.
All right, welcome to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. This is day 2 of Armando hosting. Let's see how this goes. I'm not too excited about it, but with me today is my little buddy, John. Hey, John.
Dang it, nobody's called me little in a long time, but I guess the whole like Little John, maybe Robin Hood, the oxymoron. I'm actually big.
I was talking about your dick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, it's wide. We talked about my penis a lot on Eat Sleep Fantasy, and it's much appreciated. So, but glad to be here, man.
Well, tell me about it. I don't know anything about your penis.
It's a traffic cone.
Oh, ooh, that's a little dangerous.
I know, right? That's what she said.
How did your fantasy football week? Because mine went fucking terrible. Way too many shares of Evans and Sonny Michel.
No, it went really well. I've had a great week. Man, all the way across the board. I might lose, so I'm in 6 competitive money leagues, and I'm going to go 5 for 6. And I still got a shot to go 6 for 6, actually, tonight if some crazy things happen, but probably going to lose that one. But no, a great week, and an even better week, daily fantasy. Man, if you guys are not following the DFS and Dynasty Pod, you guys need to do so. Our lineups are still for sale over there, and holy cow, if you played them, you did pretty well. We had a couple miss, but, man, we had a couple hit big time. I got paid off in a lot of qualifiers and 1v1 lineups. So, man, it's a lot of fun. Again, if you don't listen to DFS and Dynasty podcast, you are wrong because they're putting out some crazy stuff over there.
Yeah, and are they funny? I think they're funny.
They're kind of funny. They're probably not as funny as us. Let's be honest. They are much more serious whenever they got money on the line. They get down to brass tacks, so I love it. So if you're not following those guys, please just ESFDD on Twitter. They are putting out some great stuff. But I will say this. I help put some of the lineups. If you want to buy the lineups, they're only $5 a week. Or you could buy the whole season for $50, which is insane. They go all the way through the Super Bowl. So we give you the winning lineups. Pick'ems, I think they were like an insane 12-3 on NFL Pick'ems, which is just bananas.
That's pretty good.
Austin and Steve, they are crushing it with JJ over there. So, but man, yeah, great week. And week 1's the most volatile, and we've got a lot of newcomers on the scene, which we're going to talk about with news, updating injuries, and then we're going to get into some early waiver wire claims, even though it's only Monday when we're recording this, on who you need to be looking out for because there's some big money players out there on the waiver wire.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. So Darius Juice or Geis is dealing with a meniscus and Geis. I call him. What's wrong with Juice? How about we call him Goose?
I like Goose. Right. Yeah, Goose and Maverick, you got that going on. But until he does something beneficial to fantasy owners, I think it's got to stay Geis.
Poor Geis. Geis is going to be out for a few weeks, so obviously Adrian Peterson will be active next week. Personally, if I own Geis, I am worried about him, and I'm going to try and handcuff myself with Adrian Peterson because he is not NFL ready.
He's not. And that's the thing, a lot of people got really upset, including a lot of players on the Washington football team, whenever they announced that Adrian Peterson was going to be a healthy scratch. Some fantasy owners kind of overwent things and dropped him. And we told you not to do that if you listen to the Facebook Live show, which if you're not a part of the Facebook Live show and you want to be a part of that, you got to email us at eatsleepfantasy@gmail.com, and we can kind of figure out a way to fix that. But Dell and I went live, and we even talked about it. You got to pick that guy up, man. Adrian Peterson, if he is on your waiver wire, he's going to be the starting bell cow back week 2. A meniscus injury can be several things. Worst case scenario is if he has to have some type of surgery, you're talking 6 to 8 weeks. But it's going to be a 1 to 2 week injury minimum. And, man, if he doesn't have surgery, you just got to play through the pain. And as a running back with a bad knee, that's a bad start. Bad start.
Yeah. I feel like if you own him, try and trade him for anything. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he has it in him to be anything this year. Maybe next year. Hopefully, we'll see. But it's not looking good for him at all.
I have 0 shares, and that will continue to stay the same.
Yeah, no, I refuse to draft him after an ACL tear. I just didn't want any piece of him. So Devin Funchess is actually going on to IR. I guess that sucks. He was the only other guy that was kind of viable in the receiving team for the Colts.
Well, I think that's what they thought going into it, right? It was going to be Funchess was the number 2, and that's fine. T.Y. Hilton's able still to go off. It doesn't matter who the guy is there. But I'm telling you right now, there are 2 key players. Obviously, Paris Campbell, who, he only played 18 snaps, but he did very, very well in those 18 snaps. Deon Cain in deep leagues, super deep leagues. I could see that guy stepping up because, again, he plays outside. Paris Campbell's, Chester Rogers, they're more slot guys. Deon Cain is the other huge wide receiver that they like to get outside. So I like that pickup right there. Deep leagues only, though.
Yeah, Deon Cain was pretty active last week, week 1. So I'm excited to see what he does. Chester Rogers was the guy to own last year. He kind of fizzled out later in the season, but he was pretty good for a few weeks in a row. So we'll see who ends up getting the role. Paris Campbell is just so fast, and they used a second-round pick on him. So we'll see what actually ends up folding out. But I like Paris Campbell personally. I mean, he's great talent over there.
Yeah, he is.
So Joe Mixon just has an ankle sprain, and he's not even ruled out for next week. I do think Giovanni Bernard is a must-grab if you own Joe Mixon.
Yeah, completely. And the funny thing, man, this has just not gone very well because they go out and draft 2 running backs, and their whole hope was these are going to be the guys that are a little bit more Joe Mixon-like, bigger-bodied, multi-purpose guys that could do a whole lot. And it just didn't work out. Both of them got put on IR before the season even started. So that's not good. But Giovanni Bernard, holy cow, gets 47 snaps to Samaje Perine's 1 snap. And he got full bell cow workload once Mixon went down, and he looked good. He played relatively well. So Giovanni Bernard's the guy to own. I do not think that Joe Mixon's going to play week 2. A.J. Green's still out. But, man, that offense definitely looked a lot better than everybody was hoping for. They bring over the coach from the Los Angeles Rams, and goodness, man, that offensive system, it works. It works.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to downgrade Joe Mixon once he's back. He's still going to be a borderline RB1, 2. We'll see how it shakes out. But in that offense, he's going to be good.
I am buying Joe Mixon right now. I'm going to be sending out just a couple of trades, trying my hardest to get more shares of him. Hopefully, people were panicking because of the injury. Go get him. That dude. Holy freaking cow. Unbelievable.
I'll trade him to you in Dynasty. I have Joe Mixon. I'm looking for some depth.
What's up? I got lots of depth, man.
Oh, I know that. So we'll talk about that in a few. Sterling Shepard is dealing with a concussion. I don't know how the Giants are going to handle that if he's out, going to miss any weeks. They don't really have a lot of depth over there. Evan Ingram's going to get 25 targets next week.
It's unbelievable how this is an NFL team and just how they just got rid of so much talent on the receiving side. Evan Ingram had 14 targets, 11 catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown. I've been super high on the Evan Ingram train, and it's going to keep going up because they have a quarterback that can't throw it deep, and Sterling Shepard and Cody Lattimore, those are your guys. Now Shepard might be out. Yikes, yikes, yikes.
Yeah, if Golden Tate's available on your waiver wire, I would recommend picking up as a free agent. I mean, he's going to be usable. He's really good after the catch as well. Yep. So, Juju is supposed to be fine. He did limp off the field on the last play of the game, but everything's fine. It was just his toe, so don't panic too much on that end. Who do you think is going to be the wide receiver 2 over there? Because it was kind of a mixed bag. Dante Moncrief looked awful.
He did. He looked bad, and there were a couple plays, if you watched it, whenever Big Ben threw it to him and he dropped it and just was completely stared down by Big Ben, like, you motherfucker. like Big Ben's over there saying, you know how many people's career I've ruined? I will ruin your career.
No, I don't think he's going to start next week. Like, there's no way.
I don't think he is either. And it's down to these two guys, Deontay Johnson and James Washington. I think James Washington's going to be the guy. But again, James Washington is that deep ball down the field receiver. He got 6 targets, only caught 2. But for 51 yards, that's who he's going to be. Whereas Deontay Johnson, the rookie pick, third-round pick, they love him. He got 5 targets, and he's going to be a little bit more of that possession guy that's going to be lining up outside. I really, really like Deontay Johnson, and James Washington. I prefer James Washington in fantasy, but, man, I'm telling you right now, this could be a sneaky, sneaky pick right here.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he's worth a waiver ad. I do think he's worth a pickup after waivers run. He's definitely worth owning.
You miss out on one of the top kind of wide receivers and you're just like, damn it, I really needed a wide receiver, then I would say go get him. You still have guys like Ryan Switzer who got a lot of snaps, but it doesn't seem like he is going to be the guy long term. Just doesn't seem like it.
100% agree with that. Moving on, Will Dissly injured his knee from last season, so he's probably questionable for week 2. I think a lot of us were high on him just as like a sneaky pickup as tight end, but it looks like he's re-injured his knee. We'll see how long he's going to be out, but it's just worth noting. I ended up cutting him in my SFB league. I was just too nervous about it.
It's so hard to have a receiving tight end that's, Russell Wilson threw the ball 20 times, and It was a close game that came down to the wire. Now, of those, 4 targets went to tight end. Nick Vannett is going to probably be the primary beneficiary. But again, you're talking about a tight end if you're going to roster in Seattle that might get 3 targets a game. So kind of scary. Stay away from that. There's so many other options to go to.
Oh, yeah, especially now. I don't feel like there's a girth in talent at all with tight ends this year. Did I say that right?
Girth
of talent?
Yeah, you're still thinking about the traffic cone.
Yeah. Damn. I do have a question kind of related to this. So I got a trade offer. You tell me if it's Dynasty. I'm pretty set at wide receiver, and I'm pretty set at running back. It's Royce Freeman for DK Metcalf.
Very close, both of them. I am on the buy now for Royce Freeman. So I would prefer Royce Freeman in that situation personally.
Even after this game one, like he looked great. Metcalf did.
Yeah, DK Metcalf did look great. He got 6 targets, 4 catches, 89 yards. But again, if I don't like owning wide receivers in run-heavy teams. I want wide receivers in pass-heavy teams and running backs in run-heavy teams unless they dump the ball off to the running back. Well, guess what? This is the issue. Royce Freeman, I think, is going to end up with more touches this year than Phillip Lindsay and goal line on a run-heavy team. So because they're both young and because both those offenses suck anyway, I would defer to Royce Freeman personally. It's close, and if you're like a Seahawks guy or you have to have a wide receiver, I don't have a problem with DK Metcalf. But personally, I'd go to the more scarce position with Royce Freeman, especially whenever you have on the waiver wire this week, which we'll talk about. There are so many wide receivers that are dynamite, electric performances in week 1 that are completely free sitting on the waiver wire right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Can't say that about running backs.
Yeah, I did regret the trade, reject the trade, but it's still out there. He'll do it if I want to. It's just
so. You would be getting Royce Freeman?
I owned Royce Freeman. I'd be getting DK Metcalf. My running backs, just so you know, it's Bell and Michelle, and then I have Royce, Drake, Balaj, Kareem Hunt, and Ogbadiah.
Yeah. You need to keep Royce Freeman.
Yeah, my wide receivers they're Cooper, Evans, Moore, and Pettis.
You're good. Yeah, keep the running back.
So this is going to go a little bit into our waiver wire now. Nick Foles is getting placed on IR. He might come back later in the season, so he might come back, I think, in week 10, 11, around there. The Jags traded for Josh Dobbs. He'll be playing behind Minshew. Is he worth the waiver wire?
Good.
I know. Like he went like 14 for 14 for a while. Like he looked fantastic.
His quarterback rating was a 122.5, which is 22 of 25 for 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Like he looked wonderful. I think I'm 100% fine rostering Gardner Minshew. Now, if you're in a one-quarterback league, 12
Definitely
teams, even 14 teams, like it's whatever. Like you need to calm down a little bit, but I kind of like him. You know, I'm not quite sure where I'm going to rank him next week. I'm waiting for the Vegas lines to come out and all those things, but man,
it's
it looks good.
So this is more of a personal question. I need a quarterback in the league. It's a 2-quarterback league. I own Foles and I own Luck. My other quarterback is Trubisky. How much fab do I use? I have $100 to spend.
You have Foles and Trubisky. It's a 2 QB league?
Yeah, and I had Luck. So right now I only have Trubisky. This is SFB.
Scott Fishbowl for the layman's term. Man, so Jacoby Brissett went for $100 in almost every single league. That was 2 QB that lost one. Man, I think you got to spend $65, $70, and I think it'll be worth it. I don't think you'll be upset.
Yeah, I'm definitely the guy that needs quarterbacks the most, so I don't know how much people are willing to, I have until week 6 for Trubisky when he's on his bye before I panic for a quarterback. So we'll see. But yeah, I probably end up, I'm thinking like 50 because I don't want to blow my fab. Quarterbacks go down all the time, and maybe I'll be able to grab, Ryan Tannehill or something like that later on.
Right. Yeah, curious to see how that's going to work out for you, man. Keep me updated.
So moving on, Tevin Coleman, we have John Chapman over here with the 49ers, is expected to miss some time. They're going to promote Jeff Wilson. Matt Breida was the guy who, benefited the most, and Raheem Morissette is on our waiver wire column. What do we do, John? Yeah,
Raheem Mostert is a stud, okay? And here's the deal. Kyle Shanahan, and you can go all the way back to his time with the Houston Texans. He loves using 2 running backs. He is not a guy that is going to predominantly just play one bell cow back. He just doesn't do that. Having said all those things, Kyle Shanahan running game is valuable in fantasy, and if you guess right, you win the week. So you definitely have to pick up Mostert. Now, Breida is going to be the guy, okay? And, it's a low ankle sprain. The MRI hasn't come back, but that's what the word out of Santa Clara is, a low ankle sprain, which that's going to be 2 to 4 weeks. And with Mostert, again, one of the fastest players in the entire NFL. Also, Matt Breida, one of the fastest players in the NFL. This is what he likes to do with his running back position. Both are rosterable. I'm fine starting Matt Breida in all leagues, no matter the format, no matter the depth. He needs to be a starter against Cincinnati in week 2. Mostert in deeper leagues is a flex play if you are hurting. So if you were a team that didn't get a lot of running backs and you had Joe Mixon, dude, I would have no problem starting Raheem Mostert going into week 2 as a flex play.
Do you think, I have the top waiver pick in a league. Is he worth the top waiver pick? I have Malcolm Brown is also there, just so you know.
I would prefer Malcolm Brown. I think his long-term value is going to be more.
Okay.
So
that's interesting. So let's kind of move on to the waiver wire side of this. This is going to be featured on our column by Clayton. So look out for that. So the first guy that's going to end up on our column is Terry McLaurin. He had 5 receptions. He's a rookie for 125 yards and a touchdown, 7 targets. Is he worth the ad?
Yes, he's. That's the thing. So whenever we're talking about these guys that are, worth the ad or not, the answer is yes. Every single player has value, and if we are looking at just your traditional kind of standard league, whatever, you've got to go out there and get wide receiver ones. The Washington wide receiver core is about as bad as any in the NFL. I can't think of anyone that is worse. And you have a super speedster, Terry McLaurin, that has proven that, 5 of 7 catches for 125 and a touchdown is impressive. But he's doing this with Case Keenum, who's not going to be the long-term starter there. Guess who is going to be the long-term starter there? Dwayne Haskins, his college teammate. So you're telling me there's a possibility that his stock could increase? Now, I don't think he's going to have 125 yards a game, but they've shown their cards, and it's Terry McLaurin. This guy, the offense sucks. I hate that, but as long as they're willing to take shots down the field, you've got to love this. So, yeah, I'm a big fan here, and we're going to be doing a ranking the waiver order later on, but he's a stud. Terry McLaurin took 59 of 64 possible snaps.
Holy cow. That's what I was going to ask you next. Like that's a very important stat. That's amazing.
Yeah, so Trey Quinn took 62, Paul Richardson 51, and then they sprinkled in Kelvin Harmon, another rookie, Steve Sims, and some Chris Thompson split out wide. But Terry McLaurin is the guy to own here. He really, really is.
Yeah, he had a great preseason as well. I mean, how much is this actually the game flow is what I was trying to figure out. I mean, they did lose Juice pretty early. He wasn't out of the game, but he was ineffective. And I don't know how many times Keenum's going to throw for 44 attempts a game. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm
Well, they were
concerned
up
about
early. That's the thing. So, like, if you're worried about game script, they were up, 17-0 over the Eagles at home, and they just kept airing it out. And they could not run the ball. They're running. They can't run the football. It was just absolutely abysmal. Before guys got hurt, he was doing nothing. So you take the information that they give you and you say, okay, they're up 17-0. If there was a time to run and just take out the clock or whatever, it's going to be that time. Well, Darius Guice had 10 carries for 18 yards. Chris Thompson comes down, 3 carries for 10 yards. They had to air it out. That's just what it is. Chris Thompson, if he's out there on the waiver wire, holy cow, 7 catches for 68 yards out of the backfield.
Yeah, in PPR, he's definitely usable.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So the next guy we're going to talk about is John Ross III. He looked like a first-round draft pick. 7 receptions, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns on 12 targets.
It just shows you what coaching can do. Marvin Lewis and that coaching staff was just god-awful. They tried moving this guy to corner. He's a freak athlete. You've just got to use him in a correct way, and wow. And the funny thing is, he left another big play where he was maybe 7 yards behind the safety and could have done something special. Now, what's going to be interesting is the Bengals play in Week 2 the 49ers, and obviously I'm a homer here, very, very biased. Hashtag 49ers Rush podcast. But they shut down, 2 prominent wide receivers in Week 1, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So is that going to continue? I don't think so. Their secondary is not that great, the 49ers, but that pass rush was bananas. They beat the tar out of Jameis Winston. So I don't think that they're going to have as good of an offensive game where they put up that type of yardage. I mean, shoot. Anytime Andy Dalton throws for 400-plus yards, something's not right.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. But John Ross, personally, he's going to be on a waiver wire column. I don't think I'm going to add him. If he's available, I'm going to wait and see if he – he hasn't done it consistently for me to trust, I mean, if I had the 12th waiver wire pick, I would get him, lower end. But top one, I'm going to hold on, someone that I think will actually be productive week in and week out. I'm not really ready to trust John Ross. I
am curious to know what he will look like with A.J. Green back.
Exactly.
I do think that, Tyler Boyd's going to be the slot guy. He's going to get his. A.J. Green will get his as well. But if you can pick up John Ross, I will say this. Pick him up and trade him immediately.
Yeah, right.
That's what I would do. So there's going to be teams that want him, but I'm telling you right now, I do believe that his stock and his value will descend greatly as it goes on. And he's going to be a Deshaun Jackson guy where he might put up a huge boom game like this, but I'm telling you, there's going to be 4 targets, 1 catch for 16-yard games as well.
Don't disagree with that. So moving on, we got T.J. Hawkinson, the rookie tight end sensation. Gronk, the second coming of Gronk. Bro, he looked amazing. I don't know if this is something that's real or not. This is unrealistic for tight ends, especially rookies. But he did it. So
I'll say this. I had T.J. Hawkinson ranked as my number 4 overall player in the NFL draft, the entire NFL draft. The kid's special, and one of the reasons why he's so special is obviously the receiving's there. We saw that, but his blocking is even better. He's one of the best blocking tight ends to come out of the draft in about a decade, and the reason why that's so significant is he received 60 of 84 snaps for the offense. So you can keep him out there all the time. And this is what they're going to do. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, chunk it deep. Run the ball, chunk it deep. And he's just fit perfectly for this, this offense that we saw in New England. We've seen it with Gronk. And this guy is, like you said, Gronk 2.0.
We'll see if it's real. I'm buying into it at the moment. If he's on the waiver wire and I need a tight end, he's definitely on the top of the list for me. That's
the
crazy
upside's
numbers.
there. We've seen the upside, so you got to go get
Exactly. All right, so the next guy we're going to talk about is Marquise Brown. He went off against the Dolphins. We just want to note that. He had 5 targets, 4 receptions, 147 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I'm not sure how real this is because it is against the Dolphins, but that is something to note. Like 147 yards as a rookie is pretty impressive.
It's super impressive, and here's what's crazy, and a lot of people aren't picking up on this. He only played 14 snaps.
Yeah.
So he's coming off of a late Liz Frank injury in the Big 12 championship. You know, he just came out of OU, the highest wide receiver drafted for this reason. You know, he's Deshaun Jackson clone, little bitty dude, super crazy speed. He comes in on 14 snaps, and he didn't practice all preseason. He was iffy for this game only. And so they put him in there and basically said, you're running a go route or you're running a comeback route. That's basically it. And he just goes ham. Imagine what's going to happen when this guy is getting the full workload at wide receiver. And if you're in a deep league and Miles Boykin, the opposing wide receiver, that guy is very valuable as well. Those are the future running or wide receiver targets to own in Baltimore. Now, having said all these things, they do not get to play the Miami Dolphins again.
Exactly.
Which are one of, it's possible, the worst team in the last decade of the NFL, and I'm not exaggerating. 3 players supposedly have requested to be traded just after this beating. And my favorite thing about this game has no fantasy implications whatsoever. The fact that the Baltimore Ravens up 35-3 did a fake punt in the middle of the field is hilarious.
It's so fucked up.
Well, so are the Dolphins. You deserve, you want to tank and try to load up for the future, you deserve to have your face shoved in shit because that's what you're doing to your fans. So
I do want to say I'm glad to see Howard came out and said he does not want to be traded. He's in it for the long run with the Dolphins. So he is our one stud left on that team.
He's top 3 corner in the NFL. You could argue maybe the best cornerback in the NFL. He is unbelievable.
Yep. So I'm glad to see that. You know, we're building let's just focus on the positives here, okay, man? I'm a Dolphins fan. This is sad.
There's not
really
a lot of
sad.
positives. Preston Williams looked pretty good, actually, at the wide receiver position. He looked all right. So I think you're going to have a guy there long term. I really, really do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate our receiving. We don't want to talk about this too much. I don't hate our receiving core. We're missing a wide receiver 1 and a quarterback and an offensive line, but our actual receivers are okay, you know.
I don't want to own one person on this team in any fantasy format.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I kind of fucked up. I invested way too much on them. So we're going to go on and talk about the other Brown, Malcolm Brown, for the St. Louis Rams. He had 11 carries.
Rams. I like the St. Louis Rams.
Oh, fuck. I'm late, man.
But yeah, he's a stud, man. Malcolm Brown, here's the deal. You talk about early offseason headlines. Todd Gurley owned him. You know, from the Super Bowl loss to not getting playing time through the playoffs to the arthritis in the knee, all this different stuff, and everybody dropped him down. Well, guess what? If you dropped him, it looks like you did right. Now, he's still going in the second round, 100 total yards. Were the touches there? Hell no. The snaps were there, though. So he outsnapped. He got 53 snaps compared to Malcolm Brown's 21 snaps. But the problem with that is the touches. Whenever he was in the game, they gave the ball to Malcolm Brown. And when Gurley was in the game, they did not. So this is one of those things that's interesting moving forward. And I'll say this. You know, Todd Gurley had 14 carries to Malcolm Brown's 11. I would prefer to have Gurley, obviously. But Malcolm Brown, if you need a running back, is the number 1 waiver wire pickup if you need a running back this week. 2 touchdowns, 53 yards. They put him in the goal line both times after a Gurley drive and just let him pound it in. They are trying to keep Gurley healthy for the postseason, so you need to take advantage of that. A lot of people thought it was going to be Darrell Henderson, who only got 1 carry for 0 yards, 2 snaps on the game. That's it.
Yeah.
Overdrafted big time. Malcolm Brown is going to be the guy there.
Okay, in all honesty, I need advice here. Should I waste my number 1? I need a running back pretty bad. I have James Conner, who's fine. My RB2 is Rashad Penny and Darwin Thompson. You know, it's a dynasty league, so I ended up waiting, traded my draft picks and end up with like a bunch of high upside guys. Is Malcolm Brown worth the pickup?
Yeah,
if you have the number one running back.
Yeah,
and you need a running back.
If you have to have a running back, I think him, Ronald Jones probably not available in dynasty leagues. I would say him. Justin Jackson definitely not.
Yeah.
Giovanni
Or should
Bernard,
I just hold on? Like, is it worth waiting? Like, just say, okay, I'm gonna hold on to that spot and wait for someone to go on IR.
No. You need to
get Brown.
Get Brown. Get Brown if you have to have a running back. Yes.
Okay, it's my RB2, so I'm like I have Rashad Penny and then Hopkins and Cooper, so I'm like not too desperate.
I mean, this is a guy that put up 17.3 fantasy points in Week 1 against a staunch run defense of the Carolina Panthers. Now, is he going to have more 2-touchdown games? I don't think so. But anytime you can get 17 points, he outscored Damian Williams, Ezekiel Elliott. Like, he outscored some studs.
He looked good.
Yeah,
I might waste a waiver wire on him. Still, playing the field, but we'll see. So the next guy we're going to talk about is Jamison Crowder. 17 fucking targets, 14 receptions, 100 yards. So no touchdowns, but still, like 17 targets is ridiculous.
It doesn't. Adam Gase is the worst coach of the NFL,
isn't he?
Yeah, he's dead last. And I wrote an article about it on Eat Sleep Fantasy. If you want to read my head coach rankings, he was dead last. He forces 4 turnovers in the first half and still loses the game.
Oh, man. It was
absolutely
bad.
Terrible. You have Sam Darnold throwing the ball 41 times, and you have Le'Veon Bell. You're up 16-0. Run the freaking ball.
Right.
He's awful, man. And Sam Darnold did not look great. He really, really didn't. He had so many missed passes deep to Robbie Anderson. But Jamison Crowder, there's 2 people to own on this team, Jamison Crowder and Le'Veon Bell. They're going to get theirs. Now, the tight end, once he comes off of suspension, which he's out till week 4, I really like him, but you got to wait a little while.
Yeah, don't disagree with you on that one. So after all this, can you give me your top 3 waiver wire ads? I mean, we have a lot of guys on this list, so tell me who you think is really worth the ad.
Yeah, for sure. If you're in a super flex, I think Minshew is going to be number 1. That dude's just an all-out beast. Also, TJ Hawkinson, he's got to be up there if you need a tight end. He's owned in 54% of leagues. And then the wide receiver position is just stacked. It's absolutely incredible. So, here's what you have to look. Supply and demand. All of the articles are going to be talking about all the wide receivers to add, and that's fine. But you've got to understand, if you want a running back, tight end, or quarterback, there's one.
Right.
I would put Chris Thompson in the running back category as well, and Adrian Peterson, as we mentioned earlier. But if you're talking wide receiver, Marquise Brown has to be the number 1. Okay, John Ross, slow down just a little bit. I'm not putting him in that category. I would say Terry McLaurin was going to be around number 2. And then now you're into the Jacksonville guys. Who do you want in that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they all went off. Chris Conley, you've got DJ Chark, who's just a deep ball specialist. All that stuff, but Marquise Brown has to be the clear number 1 in my opinion, and I don't think it's very close.
All right. I mean, I don't know about – DJ Chark and Conley outperformed him this week, so, personally I'd go after Conley and DJ Chark. Conley really went up when Minshew came in the game, so he's the guy that I would personally own, and DJ Chark just looked great. He was a second-round draft pick last year, so as
he's a deep ball specialist. And if you're in like a full PPR, guys like Trey Quinn, I really, really like. Preston Williams is going to have some value as well. There's guys that you can get all up and down this roster. Cody Lattimore for this week, if Sterling Shepard's going to be out, that's somebody that you could pick up that's going to get, he had more targets than Shepard did last week. Keyshawn Johnson, man, it was weird. That was one of the weirdest games of the whole week. The Arizona Cardinals, early on, the first read for Kyler Murray so many times was Keyshawn Johnson. Now, he had 10 targets in the game, 5 catches, 46 yards. But if you can get a piece of that offense, then, that's going to be good.
I don't know if they're not going to be throwing the ball that much going forward. They can't be. They can't win games at that level.
Have you ever watched Texas Tech play football?
Yeah.
That's what they do, man. And so now Kingsbury, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, the list that we have here, I'm kind of putting McLaren above everyone else. I think that he's the actual sustainable asset between all these guys. I don't see Marquise Leaf of the Ravens actually doing this week in and week out. Marquise Brown. God damn it. These names, I keep mixing them up.
Says Armando Crespo.
So Marquise Brown, I don't believe that his value is actually sustainable going forward. It was against the Dolphins, who are awful. I think they're going to be a run-first team, and I would be shocked if he has a stat like this again whatsoever.
Do you know whose value is sustainable going forward?
Whose?
Nitrogen Sports. Ooh. This is a wonderful betting site. It's the largest Bitcoin betting site on the internet, and it is absolutely crazy. Here's what is going on right now. If you head over to eatsleepfantasy.com, click on the Nitrogen Sports banner, they will take you over there, and they have everything from free betting to get started to make sure you feel comfortable, to survivor pools, to betting on esports. I mean, you can literally bet on gaming sites, to cricket, to whatever it is that you want. And one of my favorite things that they have is betting on individual player props, how many carries a player will get in a game, how many yards, fantasy points, all that kind of stuff. You can find so much crazy stuff, all the way down to just betting simple spreads on NFL games. So what you need to do is head over to eatsleepfantasy.com. It is a website. Click on the Nitrogen Sports banner and go ahead and get signed up over there. Absolutely amazing site, customer service. It's so easy to get money in and to get money out. You go over there, you play, you have fun, you make some money, and then you take your money out. You win. It's easy. And again, if you need more betting advice, listen to our DFS and Dynasty episode. Man, they are offering, I cannot believe how they crushed the pick'ems this week. So great advice over there. So thanks to Nitrogen Sports again.
That was beautiful, John.
Thanks, man.
So I just have a personal question. Do you really feel good about Ronald Jones going forward?
So they were 100% just, Ronald Jones, Peyton Barber early on. He did nothing. As soon as in the second half, whenever they put Ronald Jones in, he looked unbelievable. The 49ers were having a hard time stopping him. Forced a lot of missed tackles. He just looks completely different. And so if you just watch the game trend with how the game ended, there was no doubt in the mind when the game was on the line and they were down 6 points in the fourth quarter, it was Ronald Jones' show, and he looked great. Jameis Winston lost the game for them. But, no, Ronald Jones is going to be the guy moving forward.
Nice. All right, I'm glad to hear that, John. That's how I feel about Ronald Jones, too. He did fucking great in SFB for me, so I'm happy about that shit.
The weird thing was he didn't even make an appearance really in the first half at all.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. That was a little crazy.
But then, hey, man, he came out and killed it. Same thing for Devin Singletary. He wasn't getting much work for the Bills early on at all. And then they finally gave him the ball and they're like, oh, wait a second. This guy is really freaking good at football.
Yeah, I think that I was pretty nervous watching Devin Singletary not do anything in the first half. It was just Frank Gore, and they were down 0-17. I was like, what the fuck are they doing? This is just, So it worked out well.
Yeah. And I'll say this moving forward, guys, we update our weekly ranks. We have our season ranks over on the website, and it's completely free. All you got to do is just go to eatsleepfantasy.com, click on the weekly rankings. You do have to just sign up, which takes less than 20 seconds. But once you do that, you get our weekly rankings, which are updated all week. We have 7 people that are expert rankers for Fantasy Pros, and we do very, very well over there. Like, it's free rankings. I know a lot of sites sells theirs or whatever else, and they're fully adjustable where you can check standard, half-point PPR, or full PPR. We do that just for free for you guys. So if you have those questions, you can do that, or you could reach out to us individually at EatSleepFF or myself at JL_Chapman. What about you, Armando?
What's up?
Where can they reach you on Twitter?
Oh, at Thunder Crespo, and that's it. Find me that on all formats. You can even email me on that Thunder Crespo at something. I won't say the rest because then I'll get a bunch of dick pics. Before we wrap up, I do want to say we forgot to talk about Tyreek Hill. There was a chance he was going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. It looks just like a few weeks now. So we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks. Is there anyone worth grabbing on the Kansas City with Tyreek Hill being out? Is it just going to be Sammy Watkins and Kelsey the rest of the way?
Man, that's the thing, is what it looked like. They did not spread the ball around outside of those two guys and the running backs. It was pretty much that. Now, Mecole Hardman was out there a lot, but they didn't game plan him in. I do expect him to be game planned in. I wouldn't mind starting him in like a super deep league, but if it's just a regular redraft 12-teamer, there's not going to be room. But at the same time, they're going to take advantage of his speed. The snaps were there for him, but they didn't create opportunities for him. I do expect them to use that talent in the next 2 weeks if he's out for sure.
Yeah, don't disagree with you on that one. If you own him, hold on to him, and especially in Dynasty, he's going to be just fine.
He looks so good in the preseason, man. I really wish they'd use him because he's unbelievable.
Yeah, hopefully the game plan, because, Sammy Watkins was just ridiculous. Like, that's not sustainable. Those numbers, he had some of the best numbers ever for a game.
yeah, for anybody.
Yeah, so we'll see if that's – I don't think he's going to replicate that. Cool. I would trade Sammy Watkins now and get yourself Mike Evans. Sell high for sure. Like, this is not real at all.
I like it.
Yeah, I think that covers everything we're going to talk about, John. Is there anything I missed?
Man, no, this was a good episode. And reach out if you guys need anything else. We're going to be bringing something to you guys every single day. And also just want to give another shout out to Nitrogen Sports. Head over to our website, eatsleepfantasy.com. Click on that banner. Now, here's the deal. Let's say you're one of those people. And you're just like, you know what? I like the betting stuff. It's fun. It's all that stuff. But it's just, man, setting up the account and all that. One, it's super easy. We've taken care of almost everything for you. If you use our link, it puts a promo code in there, gets you a better deal than everybody else. Then on top of that, start betting for free. They have free entries that pay cash out. And if you just try those first, and if you're good at it, you're going to start winning money without betting. And then, obviously, you can increase your odds the more that you bet, or just whatever you feel comfortable with. And you can start, and you get to choose as much as you'd like to bet. You don't have to put big figures down. Now, if you are a big figure guy, they have some bets that are a full Bitcoin, which is around $9,000 that you can put down. So they've got you covered, whether you're just kind of dipping your toes into the sports betting scene, or if you're just a hardcore baller like Armando over there, and you want to throw down 9 Gs on a game, you have that option. So they've got you covered no matter what you want. Again, eatsleepfantasy.com. Click Nitrogen Sports and start having some fun. We even have our Eat Sleep Fantasy Survivor Pool set up over there. If you go through our website, you'll see that. So there's lots of options that you can jump on there. Again, that ESF Survivor Pool is free, so head over there.
Before we sign off, I just want to ask our followers to go onto Twitter and go to @CBritoFantasy and just tell them that Armando loves him. Okay? Just do me that solid, everyone. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Eat, sleep, fantasy. You rocking with the best. NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. We talking mock drafts, running backs. Better follow the conversation with John, Dale, Christian, and Armando. Screaming Eat Nation. We doing what we like. Tune in every week. Guarantee we get it hype. Fantasy football enthusiasts. I know you plan to be joining us on Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Yeah. Eat, sleep, fantasy. Eat, sleep, fantasy.